Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 46 is now officially in the history books as Goku and Vegeta are faced off against an opponent who can seemingly enough get stronger by absorbing the very life energy of not only the planet that they reside on, but also themselves subconsciously without knowing, as Goku and Vegeta right now are faced off against an opponent that seems to be getting ever so powerful while they continue to grow ever so weaker in combat. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and enjoy Dragon Ball and anime, don't forget to go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload, alongside being in the loop for all latest news, information, and updates in regards to Dragon Ball Super and the Dragon Ball Super manga. So be sure to go ahead and punch that subscribe button and slap a like down below if you guys are excited to see what's to come in the future of Dragon Ball Super in connection to the manga, as we kick off Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 46 entitled Namek in Decline, with Moro having to forcefully push Vegeta through the cliffside across the field, as Moro seems to not only have the upper hand against Vegeta, but is now switching and redirecting his focus in punishing Vegeta. And as we see Moro forcefully push Vegeta through the landscape as Vegeta begins to descend in the water, the only other person that has any sort of chance in combating against Moro right now is Goku. As Goku goes on to state, "Stop you!" he immediately takes action in charging directly at Moro. And as Goku charges towards Moro's direction, Moro, while still having his hand out in pushing Vegeta, casually is able to block off Goku's kick. And in a very similar fashion, just as we've seen with Dragon Ball Super Broly, Moro so casually grabs onto Goku's foot as Goku is unaware to what Moro is about to do, which he then later proceeds to take Goku over his shoulder in slamming his body directly onto the ground with such force and such precision that not only is Moro slamming Goku across the ground, but he's also slamming him side to side. So at this point, while Goku is unable to tap into his Super Saiyan transformation, Moro has gained enough energy right now to sustain himself to where he's casually able to flick around base Goku without any effort. Now keep in mind, again, this is very similar to what we've seen Broly do to Super Saiyan God Goku, and now we have Moro just so casually doing it to Goku, as once more he proceeds to slam Goku behind him before tossing him out in the distance. And as Moro tosses Goku's body against the cliffside, he proceeds to use the planet's energy later on to fully take control over Goku in punishing him that much more. So not only is Goku at a disadvantage in not being able to use more of his energy against him, but now Moro is continuously manipulating the energy of the planet and weaponizing that to his advantage. And as we see Goku burst out of the ground, he proceeds to go on and state, "Darn it, I'm totally drained." As Moro proceeds to tell Goku, "The longer we battle, the more enfeeble you grow," in which not only does Moro make a mockery of Goku, but he proceeds to tell him the longer we fight, the weaker you become. But this doesn't stop Vegeta. As Moro looks behind him, Vegeta is charging up for a massive Gallic Gun. And as Vegeta is putting all of his energy into this one singular attack, he proceeds to fire the Gallic Gun as he cries out, "Take this!" But Moro doesn't seem to be concerned at all. Given his status in being old and much more weaker than how he was millions of years ago, he's not afraid of Vegeta's Gallic Gun, but instead, just like a vacuum very similar to what Yakan did against Goku back in Dragon Ball Z, as Vegeta's Gallic Gun begins to approach Moro, all Moro does is open his mouth and absorb the very power of the Gallic Gun inside of his body. So Moro, just like an android, can absorb energy when directed towards him, but unlike the androids, Moro is not a cyborg. Moro is not a cybernetic machine. He's not an android. He is a biological organism that is able to easily eat energy at his disposal. And as Vegeta looks on in horror, Moro tilts his head up as he gulps down the Gallic Gun, while later looking directly towards Goku and Vegeta, he proceeds to tell them, "While I grow even stronger." As Vegeta proceeds, Damn it, Goku and Vegeta not only lost their abilities in transforming into their Super Saiyan forms, but now given their status and having to be depleted of energy, both Goku and Vegeta right now stand helpless against an ever so growing Moro. Meanwhile, back on Beerus's planet, we see how Beerus is bored, he's fishing for fish, he goes on to tell Whis so bored. As Whis carries on and looking into his staff, Beerus goes on to state, "What's up, Whis?" As Whis turns around, he proceeds to tell Beerus, "Planet Namek is exhibiting a sharp decline in energy levels, so I decided to take a peek." As Beerus proceeds to ask, "Is the planet about to die?" How exciting! Beerus has no idea what's going on. As he proceeds to hop back down, he goes on to tell Whis, "I barely have to even lift a finger here in Universe 7, since every so often some planet buster will come along and do my job for me. Cause I'm super busy, clearly." Which in and of itself, Beerus is admitting that he's not only super lazy, but he enjoys the position in being a lazy destroyer. As Beerus proceeds to catch the fish, he goes on to cry out, "Gotcha!" As Whis goes on to tell him, "Didn't you just say you were bored?" As Beerus proceeds to respond, "Exactly, so I'm busy killing time," simply by having to catch fish. As Beerus proceeds to cry out to the Oracle Fish, he goes on to state, "Hey, Oracle Fish, is this your catch of the day?" And the Oracle Fish is pissed. He goes on to tell Beerus, "This is a fishing contest. You can't just use your hands. That's a violation of the rules, so you lose." So Beerus at this point is so bored that he's participating in a fishing contest with a fish to catch fish just to simply kill time. As he proceeds to throw the fish back in the water, he goes on to state, "Whatever, I'm sick of fishing." As Whis proceeds to ask Beerus, "Are you content to let the aforementioned matter play out?" As Beerus yawns, he proceeds to tell Whis, "Sure, that planet's got no food since the people there only drink water, so not interested." And as Whis proceeds to watch the battle involving Moro, Goku, and Vegeta, he goes on to tell Beerus, "Very well." But meanwhile, back on New Planet Namek, both Goku and Vegeta are seemingly enough defeated. They're bloody, they're battle damaged, they're tired, and they have no ki. And as Goku proceeds to grab onto Vegeta in trying to use instant transmission, he goes on to state, "I feel bad about the Namekians, but we gotta get back to Maris and the Galactic Patrol." And as Goku begins to focus, suddenly his concentration breaks. As Vegeta goes on to ask, "What is it?" Goku proceeds to tell Vegeta, I can't use instant teleportation. Not enough chi." And as they both realize this revelation, they both proceed to look up as an oncoming energy attack is heading right for them. Luckily enough, Goku and Vegeta do move away quick enough, but they're initially caught within the blast radius. As Goku and Vegeta get hit by this massive attack, we notice how they both go flying out in the distance, paying the ultimate price in not having to think on time. And as the initial blast hits Goku and Vegeta, everything around them, which includes villages and the people around the villages, are completely blown away. As some of the Namekian people go on to state, "That did some real damage. Oh no, our village!" As by the end, the only thing left is a massive crater, and inside of the crater lie Goku and Vegeta, and they're both incredibly wounded, incredibly tired, as Goku proceeds to ask Vegeta, You still with me, Vegeta?" As Vegeta's coughing up blood, he proceeds to state, "Damn it!" But meanwhile, back up in the sky, Moro stands there looming over the bodies of Goku and Vegeta as he proceeds to state, "At last, your resistance ends. This was surprising, as beings such as yourself did not exist in my era. The only one who stood in my way was the great Lord of Lords, who stole my abilities." And as he begins to descend back down, he proceeds to knee Goku with such force in the gut to where Goku is not only coughing up blood, but to further shut Goku up, he grabs him by the throat. As he proceeds to look down and telling Goku, "However, I ought to mention that you two never were a threat to me." As he proceeds to cling on to Goku's neck, squeezing his esophagus, using his magic, he instantly sticks his hands out and pulls Vegeta in his direction, in which then we see how he's not only clinging on to Goku's neck, but Vegeta's as well. As he proceeds to tell them, in fact, "I welcome your presence. Why? Because you will allow me to grow even more powerful. So not only does Moro admit that back during his time the Saiyans never existed, but he also went as far as to tell them that both Goku and Vegeta, after the Tournament of Power, after Dragon Ball Super Broly, were never a threat to him to begin with. And that is scary. And as he's holding them up by the neck, he proceeds to drain the very last drop of energy that both Goku and Vegeta have within them, as he proceeds to slowly pull the life energy out of them and consuming it within his own body, in which renders Goku and Vegeta unconscious during this time. And as we see Goku and Vegeta on the ground, beaten, bloody, battered, and seemingly lifeless, Moro proceeds to eat their energy. And as Moro eats the energy of Goku and Vegeta, his body begins to morph. His body begins to change. His body becomes more chiseled. His beard essentially disappears. As he proceeds to look down on his own hands, Moro proceeds to state, "Incredible! That the energy from a mere pair of beings could restore my flesh to this extent?" As later on, one of the ex-Frieza soldiers stops by as he proceeds to tell Moro, "Wow, great job, Moro. I was sure you could beat them all along." As Moro slowly turns around, the soldier proceeds, "Oh right, I wasn't trying to run away before. Just thought, I'd take the chance to just collect the Dragon Balls." As Moro goes on to tell him, "Surely you realize you cannot deceive me." As the soldier says, "Yeah," with Moro continuing, "Well, how would you go about collecting them?" The soldier begins to stagger as he goes on to state, he clicks onto one of his scouter devices as he goes on to state, "I can pinpoint their villages within this scouter. Each village is in charge of one ball. So once you've found the villages, the rest is basically easy." And as Moro stares him down, he begins to smile because now Moro knows on what he needs to do. As he continues, "The nearby Namekians have begun to scatter." As the soldier proceeds, "Oh duh, I forgot that you don't need a scouter, Moro." As Moro proceeds, "I sense a number of locations where they gather. Would those be the villages you speak of?" As the soldier says, "Probably, yeah." Moro and the soldier proceed to walk away as Moro goes on to state, "Let us begin with the closest one then." As the soldier responds, "Whatever you say." They board the ship, and as they board the ship, the soldier goes on to ask, "By the way, are those two good and dead?" And as Moro proceeds to sit in a very awesome stance, by the way, he proceeds to tell the soldier, "Those drained of their energy will perish on their own in short order. Their lives no longer concern me. So, let us proceed." And as they take off, we see the lifeless bodies of Goku and Vegeta in the canyons. But then we notice how a few Namekians proceed to go back down into the canyon as they cry out, "Hey, they're still breathing! Quickly now! Quickly! Right!" So in fact, Moro left them alive because he wants them to suffer a very slow death. Meanwhile, back on Earth, we notice a very pissed off Bulma with Hercule. As Bulma goes on to cry out, "A week? I mean, really? It's only been a whole week since Vegeta and Goku just got up and vanished. Hey, Hercule." As Hercule states, "Well, yeah?" Bulma proceeds to show him a paper as she goes on to state, "The jerks who kidnapped the boys had this mark on their uniforms, right?" As Hercule says, "Well, sure did." As Bulma proceeds to go on and state, "That settles it. The Galactic Patrol's behind this," because she thinks that they kidnapped Goku and Vegeta. But meanwhile, Hercule goes on to ask, "So, where are you headed?" As Bulma proceeds to tell him, "My big sister's place. She's got a communicator that can get us in touch with Jaco." And as they take off, meanwhile, on the Galactic Patrol HQ, we notice how our heroes Maris and Jaco arrive. And as they arrive, a few of the other Galactic Patrols go on to state, "Welcome back, Agent Maris. Another day of hard work?" As Maris goes on to state, "I was informed that Majin Buu has awakened. Is that true?" As they proceed to tell them yes, he woke not too long ago. As they proceed to ask, "Where is he?" the soldiers respond, "The mess hall." "This way, Agent Maris. Majin Buu is ravaging our food supply." as Maris goes on to state, "I'll be right there." So Majin Buu is in fact awake, as Maris proceeds to tell one of the agents, keep the ship ready to depart for planet Namek at a moment's notice. As they proceed to state roger that, Jaco goes on to state, "Hey you two, we've got a gang locked up on the ship. I need you to escort them to the galactic prison." As they all agree, one of them goes on to state, "Oh, by the way, we have a phone call for you." As Jaco goes on to ask, "A call? From me? From mommy maybe? I mean, I hope she got the birthday card I sent her." As one of them proceeds to go on and state, "Well no, the caller ID states that it's an individual named Tights." As Jaco goes on to ask, Tights? Meanwhile, back with Tights on an unknown island, Bulma cries out, "You made them join the Galactic Patrol?" As Jaco on the other end says, guess so, as Bulma proceeds to scream, "And why did you do a thing like that?" So basically, Bulma is getting filled in on the information of Moro and what exactly is happening on New Planet Namek. As Bulma proceeds, "Huh? What's that supposed to mean?" As Jaco goes on to cry out, "Lay off me! They used instant transmission like poof. I couldn't stop them. They should make a galactic law against moves like that. It threatens the very law and order of everything." As Bulma is getting very mad, she proceeds to tell Jaco, "Listen you, if anything happens to my Vegeta, I will make you pay." And Jaco's quiet as he goes on to ask, "Why are you threatening me like I'm the bad guy?" As they continue, Hercule goes on to ask, "Can you ask if Boo's doing okay, Bulma?" As Jaco goes on to state, "Majin Buu, yeah, he's fine. Just woke him up from a nap, actually." As Hercule goes on to state, "Glad to hear. Oh, Buu." As Bulma goes on to ask, "I want you to send the ship my way. I'm going over there." As Jaco goes on to state, "What? Why?" And Bulma and Jaco are fighting because Bulma wants to come along. And of course, with that being said, by the end of all of this, Bulma's minutes have expired with Jaco. So she's demanding for Jaco to send her a ship because Bulma needs to get to their location in order to fully figure out what's going on. She is concerned for Vegeta, and of course she is concerned for Goku, but mainly Vegeta in this case. But meanwhile, back on planet Namek, we notice how Goku and Vegeta are resting with a few Namekians. As their bodies begin to heal up, out of nowhere Goku rises up. As Goku rises up, he goes on to state, "Thanks, but you got your energy drained too, so don't overdo it, little guy." As the little Namekian goes on to state, "I'm just fine actually. I might not be as good as Dende, but I've got healing powers too. We wanted to help you recover a little as quickly as possible, even if I can't get you two back to full strength." So this little kid actually helped restore their strength, but it's simply not enough. As the little boy continues, he goes on to state, "You two saved our lives, so this is the least I can do," as he proceeds to slowly heal Vegeta. And Vegeta just sits up shockingly as he grabs onto his ribs. The little boy goes on to ask, "Wait, you mustn't try and get up just yet." As Vegeta looks on over, he goes on to state, "Oh, it's you." As the boy asks, "I'm Eska, thank you. Thank you for saving me back there." As a very tired and beat up Goku goes on to ask, "So, what'd you know, Vegeta? Looks like we're still alive." As Vegeta sits up quietly, he goes on to ask everyone, "So, how long have I been out for?" As the Elder Namekian goes on to tell them both, "You slumbered for 3 full days." As both of them cry out, 3 days? And what of Moro? What is that fiend up to? As the Namekians stay quiet, another emerges as he goes on to tell Vegeta he's already attacked 3 villages. He's probably headed for the Elder's village as we speak. As Vegeta cries out, What? You mean he's obtained 3 of the Dragon Balls?" As the Elder Namekian goes on to state, "Indeed, 3 of our villages failed to protect their Dragon Balls. He slaughtered all of them." And as Goku begins to pick up an energy signal, suddenly they go on to ask, "What was that? Is that Moro?" As the Elder Namekian goes on to state, "Not again," because they understand that right now, somewhere out there, Moro is in fact killing villagers and collecting the Dragon Balls. And as we see Moro using his levitation and as we see Moro levitating one of the Namekians over the energy field he had created over the village, he is threatening everyone and demanding for the Dragon Ball, and if not, he was going to basically throw you into the fire, in which he proceeds to do so. And all of the Namekians bear witness to their own people having to be destroyed before their very eyes. As one of the Namekian elders goes on to cry out, How dare you?" As Moro laughs, he proceeds to state, "Your village, it's engulfed in flames. There is no escape. so bring me your Dragon Ball. As the Namekian villagers cry out like we just hand it over to the likes of you, Moro simply then proceeds to use his finger and flicking the Namekian into the wall of fire. As the villagers cry out, no, Moro proceeds to state, are you all fated to die in due time? It is futile to resist. As one of the Namekians cries out, you devil. As meanwhile back with Goku and Vegeta, Goku goes on to cry out he started killing the Namekians? Damn it, I wish we can help, but I still can't use my instant teleportation. As the Namekian elder proceeds to state there is hope. We have not been idle for these last 3 days. As Goku goes on to ask, so you kinda came up with some sort of a plan? As the elder Namekian goes on to state, we Namekians have assembled a last resort. As Goku and Vegeta goes on to state, oh, so what like Piccolo and Kami did? As the elder Namekian goes on to tell them both, the strongest warriors from the villages have been combining for this very fight. As we see many Namekians begin to fly towards Moro's direction, the insinuation is that many Namekians have fused into one, creating 3 beings in their hopes of destroying Moro completely. And as we see them flying towards Moro's direction, the elder Namekian proceeds to state, when several dozen Namekians assimilate, the resulting warriors can defeat any evil that may threaten us. This is how our tribe has protected itself throughout the ages. And as these warriors proceed to land back down, one of the elders goes on to tell Moro, you've had it your way, but that ends now. And as Moro proceeds to stand there, out of nowhere, Moro goes on to state, oh, how do you mean? As the elder goes on to tell him, the savior of all Namekians will be upon us shortly. It is your fate to perish at his hands. As out of nowhere we see how these warriors are making their way towards Moro, one of the elder Namekians go on to cry out, go savior of our dear planets, embody the pride of every single Namekian. And as these Nameks are charging right towards Moro's direction, every single one of these Namekians are happy, because they think that these saviors do have a chance in defeating Moro. As one of them zips on in, zooming right towards Moro's direction, Moro so casually sticks his hand out behind him and completely impales the Namekian. This Namekian had absolutely zero chance of defeating Moro, and with Moro just so casually having to impale this individual, every single person is shocked as to what had just happened. And by the end of it, as Moro raises the body up behind him, he goes on to tell the Nameks, was this your savior by chance? As he drops the body, he goes on to tell them apologies. He was dead before I can even see his face. As the manga chapter comes to a close. This was an incredible story. This just goes to show that Moro is everything Zamasu, Goku Black, and Merged Zamasu ought to have been in Dragon Ball Super. Now again, this begs the question, with Majin Buu having to now be awakened, what does this mean going forward? Is Majin Buu going to be the key factor in which is going to lead into Moro's defeat? How is Goku and Vegeta going to pull themselves together in this situation, having to fight an even stronger Moro, and then having to see Moro basically confirm that they never had a chance to begin with? Moro is in fact one of the most powerful entities that Goku and Vegeta have ever fought before, and to me, this was one of my favorite stories in seeing, you know, the way Moro was depicted in this chapter among the others, in the way Moro executed not only his own abilities against Goku and Vegeta, but also going as far as to leave them to suffer, killing off the Namekian people. Of course, Moro still wants to use the Dragon Balls to make his wish, but the question is that going to happen, and will he have his wish fulfilled? But more importantly, what about Beerus? Why does Beerus enjoy being lazy? Is he in fact going to be directly involved in some way, shape, or form? Can this be the only opportunity that he may have in helping Goku and Vegeta? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching once more. If you guys are new to the channel and of course love Dragon Ball and anime, don't forget to go ahead and smash that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, slap a like down below if you guys enjoyed it, tune back in for the next video, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to Unrelent Gaming and all his social media platforms. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you can be the first to know every time that he uploads a new video.
Oh, did someone say Unrelent Gaming? Oh my god!
The fuck, Zarbon? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge!